So good morning, it's day 4 and I slept really well last night. The whole sleeping situation has been a big concern for me because this bag, it's a 20-degree down Sierra Designs bag, but it's from the 90s. I mean, this thing is, I don't know, 20 years old. The last trip I was on, I noticed that it was losing loft. It had cold spots all over the place. But this year, I got 2 things that have changed everything. First of all, this NeoAir, which I guess everybody uses, is fantastic because not only do I get a better night's sleep because, I'm over 50. My bones, they just, sleeping on the Z-Rest was just not comfortable. Not only is it more comfortable, but it keeps me warmer because it just has that insulation between me and the cold ground. So this was worth every penny of, I think, the $169 it cost, which is kind of expensive for a sleeping pad, but it's so worth it. Okay, so the first night I was here, I slept with the NeoAir and just the bag, and the bag had cold spots, and I was like, oh my gosh. But fortunately, after the last trip was over, I bought this. This is the Thermolite Reactor from Summit. This thing is like magic. I mean, I don't know if it's silk, but it's like a sleeping bag liner, and I put it in the second night, and it was like amazing how much warmer I was and comfortable. I mean, I was almost too hot. It adds 15 degrees to whatever your bag rating is. So between the 2 of these things, I am sleeping so much better, which is fantastic. I think the whole trip is going to be more enjoyable because of this. And I'm not like paid to say anything by any of these companies. I mean, I only have like 175 followers. I don't think they would pay me to say anything, but it's just good products. So I thought I'd share that with you. You know about my food problem. I have these lentils. I was looking at my bear can this morning, which by the way is the new tripod since I lost mine yesterday. Anyway, so I'm looking at the bear can and all the dinners I have left, every single one of them has lentils in it. It's because my daughter, she left this bag of lentils at our house. And I'm not a big cook and I don't use lentils. I barely know what they are. As I was throwing my food together at the last minute, which was kind of a mistake, I saw these lentils and I'm like, oh, they look healthy and they're tiny so they'll rehydrate easily. So I just threw them in a bunch of everything. Well, it turns out the lentils are beans, and what happens is they sprout when you rehydrate them, and they have this very starchy taste like an uncooked potato. So I basically need to dig the lentils out of my remaining meals so that they'll be tasty again, because otherwise the seasonings and everything else was fine except for the orzo. Okay, the orzo doesn't rehydrate very well at all. One of the guys I met on the trail was saying it takes 2 days instead of 1. So I have a dinner with orzo in it tonight. It might be crunchy, we'll see, but at least it'll taste good. I am doing a really short day, only 3 miles today to Death Creek Canyon. The reason I'm doing that is because from Death Creek Canyon to the next water source is like 11 miles, and that's a big day for me right there, 11 miles. This is Gomez Meadow. So pretty. So I just ran into these 2 guys, Peter and Matt. They're section hikers like me. Peter's getting off Horseshoe Meadow and Matt's going on further to Onion Valley. They were looking for water and, they weren't sure what to do about it. So I was really glad that I had this Guthooks app, because I was able to look up the water at Gomez Meadow to determine that, they'd have to go hunting for it because it's seasonal. And back where I camped a mile back, it's flowing really nicely. And then up ahead at Death Creek Canyon, there's water there, but it's really skanky. And there's a horse trough a half mile away, but apparently has better quality water. So anyway, I was able to give them all this information, which really helped them make a decision. I can't tell you how happy I am to have spent $6.99 for that little app. It has been so helpful on this stretch of trail, because this stretch of trail is drier than most. Up ahead, past Horseshoe Meadows, it'll be water everywhere. So, glad I could help those guys out. That's what it's like being on the trail. I mean, people look out for each other. So last night, I thought I was gonna be camping alone in the wilderness for the first time, which, I mean, I've been backpacking for so many years. You know, it really shouldn't be an issue, but I don't know why. It's just a thing I've never done. So it's kind of scary. So, and I almost kept going, even though I discovered 2 blisters. It really hurt, and I was tired because I knew other people were camping ahead. And I was thinking, oh, I don't want to be alone. Then I'm like, no, Diane, just do it. It's not that big a deal. People do it all the time. Your daughter did it. So I did it. I set up camp. And then these 2 guys came along, Old Blue and Adam. Older guy and a younger guy. Old Blue was obviously the older guy. He was really chatty. He's a lasher, like me. That is a long ass section hiker. So he's doing the section from Kennedy Meadows to Tahoe. So that's a big section. Oh my gosh, I gotta stop. This is too much. Okay, here's some shade. Shade of a dead tree. It's a pretty cool dead tree. I don't know if you see that. So Big Al, not Big Al, Old Blue, he was really cool. He was telling me about trips he'd taken. He told me that he works with elderly people, and you know, one of the keys to life is to just keep moving. But then the other thing is you have to accept the limitations too, because we were talking about how, because they were doing 15-mile days too. Everybody I've met on this stretch of trail so far, except for, I suspect, Peter and Matt, everybody else has been doing like 15-mile, 17-mile days. I can't do it. I'm just not there yet. So I don't know. There's always this push and pull between how far do I push, because you got to push to be more, but then you got to not kill yourself too. So, and everybody's different. Not everybody can hike a 20-mile day. I think you need to keep pushing, but then I think you need to stop when you need to stop, like I did just now, so I could breathe and talk to the camera. To you, whoever's watching this. Thank you for watching, by the way. I'm lugging a lot of camera gear that it weighs. I should actually weigh it separately to see what it weighs, but maybe I don't want to know. But I'm doing it because I know a lot of people can't get out here, and so it's kind of a fun way to take a trip, even when you can't take a trip, or if you're planning a trip, it helps you to kind of know what to expect. So that's why I'm doing this, and I hope it's helpful for you. So I think this is Death Canyon Creek. Not much to look at here. Let's go check out the water. The reviews on Guthooks says it's nasty, tastes like metal, skanky. Basically not good reviews. Oh, not even a trickle. There's this stagnant pool. I don't know if you can see that. Oh yeah, skanky indeed. But I think the butterfly likes it. Don't you? Oop. That water looks nasty. So and honestly, this is a pretty uninspired place to spend half a day or even camp. So I'm gonna look for this nearby junction that allegedly exists and leads to the horse trough. And I'll go water up there, and I don't know, maybe I will stick around here for the hot hours of the day. So basically the next part of the trail is about 4.5 miles straight up to over 10,000 feet, 10.4, something like that, to a really great view of Owens Valley. But it's going to be hot, and it's going to take me a lot of water to get up there. So I'm thinking that I will just, hang out here in the evening, hike a couple more miles, or as far as I can, up the hill to a campsite, camp there, and then just make it a shorter day tomorrow and ration water the whole time. I think I can do that. It all depends on finding this horse trough. That water really did look nasty, and I pretty much drank everything here thinking I'd have water. I'm comparing Guthooks electronic to half-mile paper to try and figure out where this horse trough is. Okay, I think I've gone too far up the hill looking for this horse trough junction. I see no junction on on the map, it just says nearby in the gut hooks notes, so it's not marked at all really. And half mile shows a water spring up the creek from Death Canyon Creek on the other side, so I'll go look for that. Well, how the heck did I miss this? An arrow pointing straight to the H2O this way. All right, yay, hiker community, thank you very much. Not exactly a horse trough, but a lovely little spring flowing nicely, mysteriously from under this rock. And it goes down. Maybe I'll soak my feet in the less nice portion. And check out this perfect rock bench. Like, wow. I mean, you could sit through people there in their packs comfortably. And the walk here was lovely. So I'm going to spend the afternoon here, and then in the evening I think I'm going to water up and hike up a little further. And here's my little hangout spot. Time to charge some things because batteries are running low. Oops, and I'm not leaving that, I'm packing that out. How to take care of business. Okay, so this is probably a good moment to talk about power management. So I just charged the Delorme up to 71%. I had forgotten to turn it off, and so it had gotten all the way down to 28% only, 3 days into the trip. So I need to remember to turn it off every day. This is the phone, and I just charged that up to 71%, and it had gotten down to about 35, and sometimes it quits on its own after that if it gets lower. And then this is my magical charging device. It's the Anker, and love this. I call it the power brick. I don't know what you really call it, but it's awesome. It weighs about 13 ounces, but on my last trip, I think it could power my phone like 4 or more times. I mean, and I actually shared power with other people. It's been great. So, and I have it here charging some of these camera batteries, which each battery is lasting me about a day and a half. That's just with my usage. I have 2 more batteries, so I'm just kind of charging these a little bit just in case. But really the priority is Delorme first, because that's my lifeline to the outside world. Phone second, because it's got the gut hooks and some other notes on there that are really important. And then these batteries here are just kind of optional. So I think I figured out what's caused my blisters on both my heels. These inserts, I basically took out the original Ultra Lone Peak inserts because they don't provide me with enough arch support, so I put in these Dr. Scholl's. And these are the real Dr. Scholl's, not these smelly knockoffs that I used in Jacksonville, threw away actually. Anyway, so these are planar fasciitis inserts. They give you really excellent support there, but they're only 3/4 length. I don't know why they even do this, but that was all they had at the store, so that's just what I bought. So basically, I think what's happening is it's just, rubbing around in there, because that's where this meets the shoe is where my blisters formed. And walking down the trail today, 2 more are formed in the very exact same place. So I'm gonna put back the original Ultra Lone inserts, and hopefully my arches won't collapse up the trail. Well, time to pick lentils out of tonight's dinner. So I had this brilliant idea to use my laundry bag as a sieve, so let's see if this works. Quinoa should filter through, and nasty lentils should stay. Whoa, I gotta turn off this camera. Okay, on the food front, I know this looks nasty, but when this rehydrates properly with a little bit of olive oil, it's really good. Anyway, this was tonight's dinner. It's orzo in there, and usually by the middle of the day, the water is all completely absorbed and I have to add more, but this is not absorbing. So I'm gonna let this sit for another day and see if it will absorb in 2 days. Meanwhile, my idea about using the laundry bag to filter out the nasty little lentils was a stroke of genius. Most of them did not come through. There were some, I had to pick them out, but it was a lot less work. So this is quinoa with some Lipton onion mix and some other spices in there. So I'm going to rehydrate this for dinner tonight, and then this will be tomorrow's dinner, and we'll see if it's rehydrated by then. Okay, heading out from my rest stop. I'm gonna go maybe 2 or 3 more miles to a campsite. I have 1 liter of water rationing for today. The other 2 liters are for tomorrow. So gotta be conservative. What is this ant doing on this flower? Look at these crazy old sequoias. There's a whole bunch of them amidst these cool rocks. All the way up the mountain. If only they could talk. Goodbye, Death Creek Canyon. It's nice knowing ya. Thanks for the water. And we came up over that low saddle to the left, not the low to the right. The higher low to the left. Oh man, I'm tired already. This is a better view of Death Creek Canyon, big dry meadow, and the mountains from which I walked. Look at all the spectacular gloriousness here. It's so pretty. So I stayed at that little spring and hung out for 5 hours, which was great. It gave me time to do little camp chores and nurse my 2 blisters, and I didn't leave till 4:30, and I am so glad I waited because around 4 o'clock the afternoon winds kicked up. I mean, they're not constant, they come and go, and the shadows are longer on the hillside because this is a straight up trek. So those factors are making it easier than it otherwise would have been if I'd have gone earlier. It's so hard sometimes to take a really long lunch because you get antsy, like you just want to get going, you want to get it all over with. But I'm telling you, letting your body recover for a few hours really does wonders for keeping it, all together without so many blisters or chopping up your feet or whatever. So those 2 guys, actually Peter and Matt, I saw them at the watering hole and chatted with them for a while. They're really cool. And Peter was telling me about his work. He lives in Sacramento and he works with electric power distribution, and it's really interesting hearing about that world and how renewables is changing it all. I'm loving this. I mean, yeah, it's not easy, but it's so beautiful out here, and the camera, it's a good camera, but I know everyone says this, but it just doesn't do justice to what I'm seeing. All the little things. I saw a little frog, no camera on me. I saw some birds digging in the dirt. I don't know if they're digging a dirt bath or digging for ants. It's just all those little things. It's just so nice to be out here. I hope you get out here one of these days. There's Whitney. That's where I'm headed. Okay, it looks like I made it to the second set of campsites. There's allegedly 5 places here. I do see a lot of flat spots and some interesting rocks. It is kind of windy up here and the winds come from that direction, so I'm going to try to find a place up against the rocks to stay out of the wind. So maybe I will get to finally camp by myself. Just another amazing view. Look at this cool little cave. I hope there are no bears in here. Let's check it out. Hello, bears. Wow, pretty cool. I guess if it rains, I'll come in here. I actually didn't end up staying at the campsite with the cool rocks. I just felt like it was too exposed to the wind, and I'm trying not to use my rain fly because it's extra work. I am carrying it though because I do need it for the higher altitudes when it gets colder. So I kept walking because I felt pretty good, and I took a lot of time, went slow, but I made it up to mile 733.9, 734. So I found a campsite that's totally surrounded by wood and to break the wind, which is great. So I have a couple of fears. One is camping alone, and 2 is camping above 10,000 feet. I'm at 10,190 because the air is thinner up here, and sometimes I notice it. Sometimes I get anxious about it. So tonight I get to conquer 2 fears at once. Hope I live to see tomorrow.